Good morning. My name is Rachel Allen, and I am a coach. I work with individuals mentally, physically, and spiritually. And one of the thoughts, or one of my greatest passions, is for individuals to come into the full awareness of who they are in terms of spiritual beings. However they describe that. It doesn't matter, tradition or faith, just as long as we awaken to what our potential is. For any individual who seeks to know more about their physicality, the body of their affairs, whether it's their physical body or their emotional body or their relationships, financial relationships, whatever that is, the body of their affairs, as well as, like I said, the spiritual capacity to understand that we are creative in nature. And I believe that a lot of that begins with mindset. I wish I could say that I thought myself into, or I should say that I prayed myself only into well-being, but a lot of it came through practices or rituals having to do with catching my thoughts, having to do with becoming aware of what I was thinking, and then also educating myself. I barely made it through high school. I was busy doing other things that I thought were more important. I was definitely in survival. My dad died when I was 13 years old, and so my mom and I had a challenging, difficult relationship, and so I tended to be on the run from about age 14 on, and I don't think I stopped running until I was in my mid-20s, for those who know my story, and really kind of settled down into trying things completely differently. And so in those times, the last thing I was thinking about was educating. I was convinced that I knew what my problem was, and I was convinced that I knew what those answers were going to be for myself, out of the survival, what I guess would be described the reptilian brain, right? And so once I surrendered and recognized that I did not know the best chart or the best course of action for myself, and I began seeking outside spiritual counsel, outside medical counsel, and I meant naturopathic, homeopathic medicine. Traditional medicine, Western medicine was not my way for this body, for this being. It works for, I'm sure, a lot of people. It did not work for this body. But the educational piece was really, really important for me. And so to this day, sometimes I hear things like self-help books don't work. And so I want to kind of debunk that today, because I believe my process was self-help books. I would read things like Troward, The Power of the Creative Power, Power Within, Emerson's, Emma Curtis Hopkins. I would read things like Ernest Holmes. I would read things like Edinburgh Lectures. I would read things by Louise Hay, by Edwin Gaines. I read things, I mean, I literally became like anything I could read that enlarged, allowed me to develop an understanding of my creative power and the potential that I am. It fueled my wellness. It was like putting gasoline on a fire. It drove me, I can honestly say, and it inspired me to continue to seek. So what I always think of when I talk to people about the self-help, people say, again, they tend to poo-poo self-help books, the self-help industry. They say that stuff doesn't work. They'll read the book, and what I've come to know through personal experience is I never really stuck with something long enough to really see if it worked longer than 30 days, 60 days, whatever that time frame is. We tend to gather in groups or small mastermind groups for periods of time, and then what happens is if something doesn't happen for me immediately, I tend to put that book away rather than continue to understand or unlearn the theology that is blocking the manifestation. So I always think of self-help books as a capital S, and when I can think of self-help as a capital S, it means it's not the little limited self, the self that I am, that I know myself to be, that is fear-based, that moves from control, that moves from sometimes manipulation to get what I want, It moves from self-deception, not always being completely honest with what I've done in terms of a daily discipline. It's that aspect of self that limits my ability to see or to really accept what that book is offering me in terms of potential. And when I can look at a self-help book as an opportunity to understand a greater understanding of really who I am, right? That Atman, that I am consciousness. Some people refer to it as a Christ mind or a Krishna, whatever it is that is boundless, right? That knows no limit, that is without boundary, I should say, that is spacious, that is all-fulfilling, all-knowing. When I can tap into that energy, and when something appears to not be manifesting, I can come back to the reading of whatever the practice is, and I can reapply it or request for greater wisdom. What am I to take from this practice that has inspired me to take an action? When I can come back to that, there's never been a self-help book that hasn't inspired me and allowed me to shift, change, grow, develop, and unfold. And so I want to put it out there to inspire, or hopefully maybe re-inspire those who have maybe shelved a book and maybe you've set it aside thinking that that wasn't the book for you, or it only brought you so far. Whatever it is, that we can maybe revisit that and see if there's a book that has been calling you, or there's a practice within a book that's been calling you that you're now ready to revisit. This month being April, I call it the Spring into Action month, right? So the mornings are glorious. Our days are warming up here in Tucson. I got to do a fantastic trail run on Saturday. This morning I got to go out for a run with Sweet Camille. It's like it's this time of year where it is still cool enough, it's warming up, but it's inspiring us to, look at our gardens, look at our nutrition, look at our cabinets. Are there things that need to be rotated in and out? A time of Easter, time of another holiday, sacred holiday for some, or in Passover, a time of Lent, a time of fasting, a time of, opportunities. And so what is it for you? What is calling you today, this day, this now moment, that will invite you to live an inspired life and to continue to, even though I may not feel inspired 700, or 7 days a week, 365 days out of the year, feel inspired. Know that my life is an inspired life, and that I'm going to bump into things that are going to call me or invite me to come back to higher self principles, which means it's not me, limited self, doing the work. It's the broader self that's doing the work. And that is the glory. And when I can celebrate every morning with my gratitude list, lying in bed, knowing that everything that I have, everything I see, and I mean everything, the good, the bad, the thing, or I want to judge bad, right? The good, the bad, the challenging, everything that's happened in my life thus far has been a miracle, because it's invited me to come to what I know to know about myself today and what I absolutely know about you. So pick a new book. If you don't have a book in your house, if you've cleared out the library, find a self-help book, find something that inspires you, practice it until it manifests. I always think of Neville Goddard. We do it until it manifests. Ernest Holmes says we treat and we move our feet, and we treat until we have an actual demonstration. We do not quit, people. We do not quit. We are not quitters. That is not a God-inspired thought. That is not a God-inspired action. It just means that I have to ask for more clarity about what the roadblock is, so I can get myself out of the way, the little self that says I can't, it's not mine to do, whatever it is. And yes, it may look a little different, it may feel a little different, but the most important piece is that I invite that wisdom into everything that I do. So with that, may you find, again, a new idea, a new inspired self-help book that will launch you into some new action in your life, or re-enliven a passion, a dream, a desire, something that maybe you've tabled or want to table, but guess what, you can't, because that's the desire within. That's the universe beckoning you, calling you to some greater good. And so I honor you today in your new adventure, because I know I have a plethora of things on my table. I have a lot of plates spinning. I'm blessed by some new help in my life, and I am blessed that I get to continue to carry this message, because I know that this is mine to do. And I know that it is God-inspired. It's not me, little self, doing it, even though I balk at it from time to time. If Peace and blessings. Happy spring. Happy, soon to be April. I know it's still March, I think, but happy April to be spring into action. May you find divinely guided actions that allow you to feel happy, content, joyous, blessed, enriched. All those wonderful qualities that we know we can feel. So peace out. See you soon. Blessings.